So we're going to stay quiet at the beginning of our show because guess who went live with us at the exact same time? Talk about coincidence. We literally just say the words, oh, wouldn't it be crazy? Yoongi live. And literally he came on within 15 seconds. This is insanity. I think he likes our timing. So we're going to listen to Yoongi. Hi, guys. This is Living Bangtan 7. This is the official launch of our 10 years of wellness with Bangtan, official launch of our Festa event. Welcome, everyone. Everybody listen to Yoongi, though. Because he just finished this concert. He looks so pretty.
I'm hungry.
Not how we normally open a show. Everyone is aware.
He's hungry.
But the man's hungry. And he just finished the concert. We need to pay attention to him. I'm just saying.
Don't we love watching them eat?
Yes. Okay, everybody. Welcome to Living Bangtan 7. I am Nisha, your CEO. And you know, I have priorities in this world. And even if I am on the show with 5 million people watching it, his 5 million come before my 5 million. It's just the way it works. So, you know. Jana, someone said hello to you in the chat already.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna talk quiet. Aw, Joanna, I cannot believe it. Your man literally listened to you. He heard you. He's like, my girl is going live, and I'm gonna get on here and talk. This is insanity. I'm in love right now. So we shall understandably adjust our show a teeny bit, everyone coming on, because we're all listening to Yoongi live. I will quietly introduce you to the show. Angela and I will kind of keep it on a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
We have Love Yourself playing in the background on my BT21 album, which we officially broke in. So we've got it all going on, guys.
And what better person to introduce us to, the power of, mental and emotional well-being, right?
Oh my God. It's like I literally just finished telling you guys what are the 5 albums that we're going to be talking about throughout this entire 48-hour event. We're going to be focusing on the loves of my life, which are all 7 of our loves. But at the same time, D-Day was because today is literally officially the last part of our hegum. So the name of our show is called a hegum. It's a hegum about lifting a ban on discussing mental illness, trauma recovery, and even the concepts of depression, anxiety, and the things that lead us to a place where we could have been in a space that Yoongi starts out with in his concert, like we've talked about. And here he is literally chatting with us live at the same time. I'm like, this is freaky. It's insanity.
That timing is amazing.
That was just literally, now I'm like.
I think he got my DM I sent him earlier.
I think he got your DM.
I sent him the schedule because his comments were open, so I did send him the schedule.
You did? Okay, yeah. I'll be honest with you. He probably saw it. Maybe. He's like that. He's really good about absorbing a lot of different pieces of information. Yeah, so. Yoongi. Oh my God, I said Yoongi and he looked up.
Yeah, it's a rock version of Arson just dropping.
I saw it right now. I saw it at the same time. As he went live, the rock version of Arson dropped.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to get it. So that's going to be, I think, introduced in the movie next week. All right, guys. We didn't do any of our traditional lead-in whatsoever because Yoongi just discombobulates people. Because Yoongi, that's life with Yoongi, and we're good with it. And that's what we're going to be talking to you about today, my friends. Today is a hegum. We are Living Bangtan 7, and welcome across all of our streaming channels. I am Nisha, your host and your CEO of Living Bangtan 7, and we have Angela, my lovely partner in crime. You want to introduce yourself, my love?
Hello, I'm Angela. My bias is V. And I'm happy to be here celebrating Festa.
Yeah, V had us up at 4 a.m. with a live.
Yep.
Okay. And then my other partner in crime and mama, Miss Terry. You're on mute, Terry.
Sorry. Even though we're talking about V disrupting, he disrupted for his normal little amount of time. Just when you're getting used to seeing his face, he's like, bye, I'm going.
I love it. I love a little bit, And then
But
we
he
have
ended
3.
with the dog. That's twice now. He's ended with his puppy.
No, he comes on so that we can all see Tanny, because he knows that Tanny makes us happy and we worry about Tanny, especially last night. And so this is one of like our regular conversations. I just love that Yoongi just diffused the entire environment. And then he's like, no, chill, girls, ladies, please chill. Just have a chill conversation. And then we get Arson, for God's sakes, a rock version. Can someone load it so we can at least listen to it in a minute? We're going to try and do it. I mean, I feel like Bangtan knew we were doing this show and they just prepared everything to drop as we started. Is that not ridiculous? I feel so happy inside right now. I was happy anyway. So today's show is literally part 4 of a hegam. If you guys have been following us, we've had 4. This is the 4th in the series of the D-Day events where we talked about the 4 stages of trauma recovery. So today, our lovely guests, when we are missing one, not sure if they're going to have a chance to jump on or not, are going to be having a few moments to tell us about their testimonies about how Bangtan has been part of their healing journeys. And we have a couple things that we're going to kind of bring in from we're going to go from acknowledgement back to transition, because the entire event of our literally 50-hour Festa event is about transition. So, and I think that going back to it now, after we finally talked about acknowledgement, it's good to go back now to say how Bangtan is an effective and a credible source of transition in our mental wellness journey. Everybody agree with that one?
Agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, so can we have from my left to my right is Terry Roselli. Just say hey to everybody and let them know where you are real quick.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Festa with us. I'm so happy to be coming in from Bremerton, Washington, and I'm excited for the whole weekend. It's exciting.
Thank you so much for being here. Lanny?
Hello everyone, my name is Nani and I'm from Germany. So I'm really looking forward for the next 3 days to spend time with you all. And let's see what's happening.
So both Terry and Lani and I are bringing all the 3. This little team is going to be bringing you live workshops. Look forward to those. Okay, and our newest friend and addition to our lovely team is Joanna.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna. I'm a Filipino. I'm currently in Connecticut. Jorge.
And Joanna is going to be coming to us along with a lovely army named Sherry, who's going to be on with our next series of shows, where we're going to be really digging in a little more deeply into the trauma recovery part of the world, because all 3 of us are focused either therapists or specialists in those fields. So, guys, what we started with the Higam is going to be continuing, and we are officially launching our new podcast, which is called A Higam. See what you did, Yoongi? See what you did? Yes, see what you did? You literally completely molded the world around you guys. Well, so let's jump into that concept. If we look at the things that we've all been talking about, we're gonna go with the first one, and I think this is probably the biggest statement that we could make as an army. When we talk about a higam, we're talking about lifting the ban on what part of yourself that you think has been suppressed or oppressed or has had such a difficult time shining in this world. So, Joanna, do you want to talk about a little bit about what part of yourself do you think you've learned to not suppress as much, that you've lifted the ban on?
Thank you for that. I just want to say hi to Apple Caldito. Hi, I love. Thank you for tuning in with us. Hagam the song really resounded. like really shattered into my internal self all the way to the inner bones, you know, in the marrows, because it's such a message that tells us that we can look into ourselves and like kind of see which parts of ourselves we're trying to hide
Mm-hmm.
and just liberate it, you know, just set it free, you know, just be ourselves, just not
Mm-hmm.
be afraid to voice out. And for me it's really people pleasing. I think that's what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's so we get so scared about like the opinions of others, or like we let the opinions of others kind of dictate us. um, and it's I think it's ingrained, especially in the Filipino culture, that you know we have to, you know, just be our parents, our families, our relatives. We're such a tight knit, you know, clan that we always have to take consideration all these voices, that we lose the voice, our voice. So I think for me it's that, like, you have to go inside and still everything around you and just listen to that voice. So for me it's just that lifting that ban of like, you
Mm-hmm.
listen to your voice, you know, consider the voices of others, especially those that have wise counsel, but listen to your voice.
I love that so much. I really do. So we are actually also live on Instagram at this moment. I'm actually live, so you will see. This is how we're going to do it through the weekend. So I'll have it playing on the side. They're able to hear us in our conversation. So you can say hey to your Instagram followers right now, guys. Say hey to your Instagram followers. Woo!
Hello.
And
Hello.
we're here. Mhm. Go ahead. I'm so sorry, Joanna. I cut you off.
Oh no, yeah, I think that's for me. So with the song Higim, it's one of my realizations that like,
It really is.
you know, the voices of others kind of, you know,
So,
stills our voice.
Rani, did you have in toggling with that? And I love that concept because, you know, I think that this is going to be how we continue to be able to breathe as we move forward, and being open and honest with ourselves culturally, because a lot of us here are from different cultural backgrounds, and we have lived in suppressive states on top of being maybe in the society that we're in now. Lani, how do you feel, or what do you feel has significantly been lifted from your shoulders? Um,
Yeah, so it's actually an overall change was happening while
mhm,
since I know BTS. But if I want to say it in a very simple way, is I allow myself to take room. So in
mhm,
any way possible as a human. And I was raised in a huge family, very traditional Vietnamese, even though I was growing up in Germany. And I always had the feeling that I'm not allowed to take room because there was so many of us. And if I want to contribute to the family or to a community, it should be in a certain way. So I couldn't move outside of that line.
mhm,
So I learned to keep myself small in any way, in every way possible. And since I know BTS, I learned to voice myself, to have my own opinion, to voice it, to have courage,
yeah,
take room in with my presence. So,
mhm,
um, and of course, to have courage and to be able to um, think bigger and have the big piece of the cake. And I love that with my army family. So one of my sisters, or two of my sisters, are right here, is Angela and Cherry. And during the last 2 years, I learned a lot from both of them. So here I am, and I lived with that band. Yes.
that's beautiful. I actually love the concept that you both went with two completely different things, but they're so complementary in terms of who we are as human beings before we are, whether or not we're a female, whether or not we're, you know, our culture. And I want to keep on thinking about that concept then. So um, let's Terry Roselli, what do you? I mean, you know, it's a little bit different for you. Tell me a little bit about what you think the significance of Bangtan has been, and maybe looking at the predispositions in your life and what has changed because of them.
Wow. BTS has, I don't want to say like taken over. They're taking over me. Um, but you know what I mean? they
No, but it's
they
true.
they
Yeah.
they brought a space into my life where I everything that I ever decided was based on fear. And when we make decisions, important ones, from a fear-based foundation,
Mhm.
it's not a good place to come from. So I learned from them. I mean, think about all of the stuff that they do, getting up in front of millions of people, the fear that they've got to feel right at the beginning, but it's an excited thing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So for them to go out and do things afraid, do it afraid, and then they just keep doing it. How inspiring is that? So
Mhm.
to watch this happen in front of us and to watch them just keep doing what they do
Mhm.
is what gives me the gas to keep doing with no fear, just do it, no fear, thinking big, dreaming big, and
Mhm.
making sure that my fear does not stop me from setting up boundaries when I need to because of past trauma. If I didn't learn from that, there would be something wrong. And I've
Mm.
watched BTS, they have learned, right?
Mhm.
And I'm glad to be along for that musical ride because it's changed my life completely.
So I put two tags in there, right, based on some what I'm hearing. I really love what you said. I wanted to just you made me think of something if I could share, and then we'll go to Miss Anne, my lovely Angela. Angela, you know how I always talk to you about how I have those moments where things get very difficult, and I go
Mhm.
back and I think about Jin.
Mhm.
And I'll be, you know, Jen, I having known and been here for a while, his choices, he spoke about it on Citrita so openly
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
Jungi, and to have it come back to us full force, where he said that the choice about living today for today.
Yeah.
So
Being happy.
culturally
Mhm.
speaking, we've become indebted to our past.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's, culturally speaking, gender speaking, we're very indebted to our past. But what we
Mhm.
learned with them, if I'm okay to say this, is that we need to let go of the ties and the debt that we hold to our past, and we need to
Mhm.
live in the happiness of today.
Mhm. No, and I think that's really, if I, and you and I talked about this in the last couple of shows, I think, where we felt like since last year's Festa and then since Proof, I feel like they've been overall, like you can see them much happier. You can see, you kind of get this feeling that they've all had like this something lifted off of them and, all exploring. And it's like it's motivational in a way to think, I mean, they're still young. I mean, I'm twice their age, but to think of trying something new, and they've done it, and I mean, they're taking risks and they're being, kind of out there. But I felt like, the whole thing, Jin talking about being happy, and he's just living to be happy, and he'll be happy 30, 60 years from now if he's still happy. That's, it's like that's to me is, it's not anything like some giant message, but it's super important. And I think, one of the things, if I look back to the start of my journey with Lanny and Terry, like 3 years ago, ladies, they were, I was not at the best point. It was the beginning of COVID, and it was, I was working in a school, and it was really challenging. And they had this wonderful idea that we could all dance a little piece of a song. And I kept sending them my dance pieces, and they're like, "No, no, you can do it, you can do it." And I was like, they were so encouraging and inspirational to let me just be me. And I feel like that's what the boys have had a chance to do in the last maybe year or so, is kind of really shine in the areas that they shine. And it's been just like a beautiful journey.
Joanna, you wanted to jump on real quick? You wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I just wanted to say, well, first of all, the word courage that Lonnie used is such a huge part of how our boys managed to maneuver over the last 10 years. It's amazing, like all the backlash and all the
Mhm.
pushbacks. And, it's coming out. Every day, just being there and being present, day in, day out. They put the work in. And Anisha, when you mentioned, Jin saying like, I don't even want to go back into the past, and live there. But also at the same time, I realized when you were talking, Jin also said, like, I don't even want to worry about tomorrow. I just want to live today. So in our culture, it's like every day we always have to plan for tomorrow, plan for tomorrow. It's like we're missing out. Yeah, missing out on what today is and what today is bringing. And that's one of the things that maybe I love about Jin is that he's this, he's the eldest member, but he's such a cook. He's like Jungkook's Maknae level, and he brings in the fun, but he's also responsible. And we can be that, we can be that every day.
So you're talking about this now 30-year-old man who found this secret to existence as a culturally with cultural tie-ins and gender and I'm going to say era tie-ins, because I believe somehow he's managed to tap into some the secret. You know how there's you're going to drink from the fountain of youth, and there's some secret to your existence. I think that we found that, but we found that with these 7 boys, because we've been able to get 7 parts of a whole sum of of courage, self-truth, self-values, fear relief, to be able to help us to probably disentangle from those in the tie-ins, or the tethers, as I like to call them. And so we are given 7 points at any given time. That's why when I explain to people that I'm OT7, I can't be anything but OT7. It's impossible, because all 7 of them literally hold on to a different part of what it means for me to untether myself from the things that bound me to my cultural indebtedness. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you go back in time, when we talked about the 4 albums, as we go through the next 2 days, now you're kind of getting an idea. We have been gifted this beautiful groundwork and framework for us to be able to untether ourselves. But we were given it while they were figuring it out. The crazy, the sad part is they had to live through the trauma of it. But here we are, to thank them for it. And that is, my friends, what 10 years of wellness with Bangtan is all about, and why we have named our show Still With You, 10 Years of Wellness with Bangtan. And welcome officially to our Festa event. Just so you know, we're live right now on Instagram. Yoongi has not stopped talking. Normally, if I am live on my phone, he goes, when they're live, it's frozen. It hasn't frozen him at all. He's been live the entire time. So you're hearing me, you're hearing him. Everyone's hearing all these conversations. I think the fact that he's here while we're here, it's just.
Don't you feel like he's right here with us? Like
we wanted 7 in this live, so he's like, okay, one more, I'm in.
He's like, okay, I need the 7th person. So oh my God, thank you for that. Thank you so much. It's like, if you ever wanted to be blessed with something, it's like Yoongi getting on here going, go, you got this. You got this. Here's my little pretty Tay-Tay. This Tay-Tay, so cute, little pumpkin. I'm sorry, I call them all pumpkins. I'm an older lady. It's very common. So with that being said, one of the things I wanted to ask you about as we move into the next phase, you and I have been together for over 2.5 years. So you've been on a journey together, the 3 of you, and Terry W. and I have been on a journey. She's been with me since I was doing research with Diversely Geek, which is our parent company, and where we have the research from. So this is this guy here. Geek.org, you can go on and you can go into our research links and you can read our white papers. We have 2 or 3 of them up now. We have our Venn diagram. When you look at the Venn diagram, you will understand how Bangtan sits in the middle of that centric focus. And we talk about how a fandom that is extremely healthy and supportive can actually be a resource for improving your self-identity. Now, Terry, you and I have been doing this, peeling it away for the last 2.5 years with your own identity and your own self-awareness. Can you talk about how being on this journey with me and Bangtan have actually helped you in that space?
Which Terry?
Terry W.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to jump over. I didn't want to jump over the other two. But no, for me, one of the biggest helps that I have had is that I learned that you don't have to be loud to be heard. I was a very reactionary person. Nisha can tell you that. It's like I've really learned to step back and listen. That's something that you can hear people, but you're not necessarily listening to them.
Mhm.
But that's one of the things that I learned from the boys, because look at how angry they could be. I mean, the way they get treated and everything else, you would never see that with them though. And they might be upset, but like flat out, I'm mean, I'm nasty, angry. You don't get that from them at all. And so that really has curbed a lot of how I act. Now I think more about stuff before I say it. I listen to what people say. I don't just, and I pay attention. That's been one of the biggest helps for me, because it's like, well, you don't have to jump in and say that, Terry. Just think about it first, because people have feelings. And that's, one of the things that they teach you. You don't know anybody's story. They might tell you, but there's so many layers to people's story that they're only telling you part, because there's some part of you that you will never let go and share with anybody else. That's my belief. I'm not saying that everybody has to believe that, but that's how I look at things. There's always something you keep for yourself. But now with Bangtan, there isn't much.
Hi everybody on his Instagram. So we are doing triple duty right now. We're live on our StreamYard on all YouTube sites, Facebook and Twitter. But because Instagram doesn't get the love, we decided that we were going to go live this way so you can listen in. But Yoongi's also playing in the background, so I'm super curious to find out if our Instagram listeners are able to hear him at the same time. Oh my God, this is just super cool. We wanted 7 people in the show today, and our 7th couldn't show up. And that Yoongi is literally sitting here as our 7th member, having a full chat with Army at the same time. We also recognize that it makes it a little harder for Army to tune in and watch our show. So I really appreciate everyone on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter who are watching us live right now. Thank you so much, Borahe. I love all of you. So I'm going to jump back to the next question then. If you could, so we're going to do a really quick 1-minute round robin where you guys give us a little bit of a testimony based on what what we're talking about as to your story with Bangtan. I think we're going to pair that out over the whole weekend. I thought about it, and I think it would be nice to give us a little time where we're each, sharing a little bit, and everyone here is going to be with us through the show, through the whole, 50 hours. So let's start with, who wants to start first? Just a short 1 minute. So I know 1 minute is really hard. So Joanna, you want to talk a little bit about your basically it's a testimony of how your journey with Bangtan has brought you to where you are now.
Absolutely. So I was introduced to BTS in 2017, have been a member because of my niece. She's a huge Army, even before 2017. And so when I got here in the US, she introduced me to them, and they're just, it's their dance. It's their dancing that caught me, because I love dance. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, right? And then you go down the rabbit hole somehow, and you look up their lyrics and how deep they are, and like how you resonate with the messages they're bringing forth. And I'm like, these aren't just songs. These are like, they are really speaking truth right there. These are facts, And so, and how they present themselves. Namjoon is amazing because he's so young, but he took the role of leader, and, no matter what age you are, you can be a leader in your own right. That's amazing, I think. And so it's just inspirational to see them, and so especially during the pandemic, that's really how I became solid, hardcore Army. During the pandemic, we've been locked up, but they opened a huge door for us to see more than just, our normal grind, but there's a whole world out there, and that world sometimes is internal. And so it allowed us to allowed me at least to journey into my soul and realize that, like, hey, fake love is real, you know. We're showing love out there, but like we're forgetting how to love ourselves. And here they are talking about, hey, wait a minute, love yourself first. And that's huge because even in the good book, it says, um, oh, yeah, even in the good book, it says you can't just love others without loving yourself, you know. It
Mhm.
has to be some form of balance. So they're just, their bars are facts. So,
They absolutely.
like Sugar says, they slay. They totally slay. So,
We have talked about that before, Nisha, that I mean, Namjoon is an amazing lyricist. I mean, he's a genius, you know, with his lyrics. Just had to say.
Do you see the prompt that I'm playing at the bottom? So you guys see that I see yeah? Okay, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Yeah. Lani, what do you want about you with your? Do you want to share?
Me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, the one lesson that I really learned from them to strengthen my self love and of course
Yeah.
the love for Bangtan is that every little emotions and feelings I have
Mm-hmm.
has a place and has the right
Got
to be
it.
seen.
Oh my God.
And each of the members have their own way to. It's like they're holding the emotion in their hands. You know, your own emotion you feel when you listen to the music, the way they sing, or when they're talking about, in their lives. It's like they are so great in pointing out this little emotion, this little feeling, or you just don't know what it is, and but it's there, it's in you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're holding it in their hand and said, "It's okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can see you. I feel the same, and it has a place right here in the palm of my hand, and I'm holding it for you until you are able to hold it yourself." And this is what I always feel. Every little, word and sentence in the lyrics, especially when Namjoon is writing in these poetic ways, it's always what I feel every time when I read or listen to them. So, so that gave me a different perspective for myself, my own feelings, and if they hold it so, if they treat my own feelings so tender, then of course I'm learning from them to hold my own feelings and myself in a in the most tender way I can,
Wow.
and everything is very precious. It's precious, and if I treat every emotion and feelings like that, then my thoughts are the same, and every atom and cells in my own body too. And that's how I learned to embrace, my thoughts, my feelings, and my own body. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's how I feel so loved, And of course, if someone is treating you like that, you cannot not loving them. You have to love them. It's not possible not to love them, right?
Do you know that you literally explained the song DNA? Literally, word for word, explain what that song means. I think a lot of people are thinking that the love that Hobie wrote about when he first imagined it was going to be a relationship love, and it is, but it's a relationship love that's beyond just the one you may have with your partner in this world. It's about a relationship love with yourself first, and he gives you as you listen to the song, and they're pointing at themselves. You have to think about that DNA. It's back to their lifeblood because remember, culturally speaking, in Asia, our lifeblood, it comes from, I don't know if it's like the same for you, but for us it is. Our lifeblood is here. So I've always recognized from my point of view as an Asian woman that they were talking about it from that perspective. And that Hosiok was saying exactly what you just said. You have to have, it's not even self-love, it's self-respect, but it's what you said, that tenderness. You have to feel such a gentle love for your own personal self from the inside out. So I want
Right.
yeah, and looking at, so do you guys stay what I'm saying about that song, about how DNA kind of gives that perspective?
Sure.
It's you have to, there's not one thing that they write that doesn't have meaning that goes beyond anything that's imaginable.
Well, I would ask you, what's the meaning of the song "Coffee"?
I actually can talk to you about coffee.
Because I mean, that's a good song.
Coffee has a lot to do with about the because at the time in the Korean culture, especially, you asked me, so now you know
I
you're gonna
know because
you know
connect
who's going
with
out.
them.
You
It's
know,
kind of like Converse High. Those are maybe some of their earlier kind of like not
It's a dating
as
song.
powerful, right?
yes, but they weren't also the writers of those songs at that
Yeah.
time. You remember that this is not who they. This was not them being able to create for themselves.
Mhm.
I mean, coffee is still about a world, and trying to be able to find a space of success. Knowing who I am, whether it's in the dating world,
Mm.
whether it's with your own self. But
Yeah.
coffee, if you remember, he's talking about the bitterness of it. He's
Yeah.
not talking about he's talking about the bitterness of it, or the deep richness of it, the different flavors representing different parts of their emotional wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever realize that coffee actually kind of tags you into those type of emotions? And you're getting that from a 15-year-old Jungkook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think
Yeah.
about the fact that that's 15-year-old lovely angel was able to help us to understand. I first listened to Coffee thinking it's a great bop and there's a lot to
Yeah.
it. And when I went back in and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But again, that was still them not having full license over their work. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
until
true.
2015, etc., a little later, that we were able to get their full work. So
Mhm.
hi everyone on Instagram. Woo-hoo! We have Army from Turkey on with us on the Instagram. So
Fun.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I love it. I got all the hearts on myself too while I'm doing it. I decided to put
Mhm.
hearts because you were saying we have to love ourselves. So I'm like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
put hearts on my Instagram live. And that's part of me that I would never have done before. Yeah, oh no, we're streaming. Don't worry. We have a playlist up, Ritu. We'll share it here
Mhm.
later. And we're doing a station head streaming party. It's going to be within the 50 hours because she's talking about streaming. So pay
Mhm.
attention to that. Our playlist went up live on our Twitter,
Mhm.
Army Living Bangtan 7 2 days ago. We'll probably, if Floor is on, Floor, if you get a chance, go ahead and try and see if you can drop our playlist again so everyone can stream. And of course, it has Take Two in there. Okay, so how about you, Terry Warner? What do you feel? And we're doing great. We're at 11:38. We got a few more minutes. What do you feel in terms of that shift in your personal perspective now that we've talked about? I just that self tenderness. I think I need to add that to our self care wheel, Lonnie, because it's so descriptive, and I love that concept that we need to be kind to ourselves in that way. But Terry Warner, Terry
Well,
W. Mhm.
I've always thought, and I've thought more lately about the fact that um, white people are always, at
Oh,
least in the United States, are always more entitled than any of the rest of you. So it's like, can I get a feel for what you guys are going through? And I always equate it to, I've always been overweight. And so I grew up in a family where you had comments that, oh, yeah, you're so pretty, but too bad you weigh so much, that kind of stuff. And just seeing the diversity in the army, and obviously the boys could care less. They talk to everybody, doesn't make any difference. Um, so for me, it's like I've actually lost weight because I stopped paying attention because it wasn't that, they don't pay attention to any of that stuff, and they tell you not, because loving yourself means not caring. I mean, you got to care what you look like to the extent that you don't want to harm yourself health wise. So if you're paying attention to your looks to be healthy, then that's a different thing than trying to pay attention to your looks because you want to live up to the norm of what's out there. So for me, there's no way that it can ever equate to what people of color feel, because that's something that I can fix. And that used to be an expression of mine. People yell, and I'm like, well, you know what? I
uh,
can fix what's wrong with me if I decide to, if you consider that that's wrong with me. But I don't consider being overweight a wrong thing anymore.
Okay, so we're talking about body image then, a little bit. Just want to toggle back in. We're looking at body image and how do you think that being we tend to not talk about some of the other wider political conversations and stuff here, because there's enough people to have those conversations, so we don't need to. We kind of try and keep it very introspective in that sense, just in case anyone's ever, because I don't really say anything like but a diversity geek in general is about an inclusive language and inclusive self-awareness. The first person you have to have love for and inclusion has to be yourself, right? In the entire game of our wellness plan, you have to make sure that you're included, whether that's in being kind about your body image, your self-image, your self-awareness image. So we always want to, like you said, that's kind of how I'm interpreting what you're saying, Terry, is that being kind to our own self and looking at our image and our awareness of who we are in the space of the world. Is that kind of?
Yep. Definitely.
You see how deep you are? Look at that conversation. You didn't.
Well, I think that, we talked about this in the last couple of weeks. I think some of their, social and emotional journey has translated into them seeming to me to be healthier physically. In the last couple of years, really exercising and showing a lot of their physical wellness as well. And so I think they all definitely go together. When you're feeling, strength emotionally and mentally, you do take care of yourself physically as well. And I really feel like I wrote about that in that article I wrote about In the Soup, and it's kind of inspiration for me when I wrote a little article about that. But I think that once you're kind of good here, then you kind of work on this other part too. And I really feel like, Namjoon especially sharing, I think he's made a big journey with that as well.
And the fact that he's sharing it, like you said, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut off somebody. I apologize. Was that you, Lanny?
That was me. Yeah. I just wanted to chime in and say that, like, even our boys, they, like Suga, I have been so, like, consciously, worrying for him. Like, he's been sick over the last few of his tour, and he keeps on saying, "Hey guys, it's okay. I'm okay. I know my limits," and it's important to know, to be able to say that I know my limits. He said, like, all our boys say this to all their members. They're like, "Bro, stay happy, stay healthy," and it's the same message that they tell Army, like, Army, we're okay. We'll stay happy. We'll stay healthy. So you stay happy and you stay healthy. And it speaks about, like, their mental capacity and taking care of their body and knowing their limits. And I think it's important to, even if it's just a simple statement, stay happy, stay healthy, it speaks in volume of how they take care of their mental well-being. How transparent, even that, how transparent they can be with us, peeling off, through their lyrics, how deep it is. V and Jungkook and J-Hope and Jimin and Jin, all of our boys are, like, so transparent. They're not afraid to unscale for us. We're not tough boys, we feel hurt and we feel pain and we have trauma, and we know, because we go through it too, and we feel you. So it's just having that mindset of stay happy, stay healthy.
And Terry R, I'm so sorry I didn't give you a chance to toggle on to that one. That was perfect. I love how everyone is really, what I've realized is from my own humanity, I talked about it with my daughter yesterday because we had our little festa dinner, how they become embedded, like I said, in our DNA. The images and the words and the messages become so indelible to who we are. That I don't see how I've tried to see what life was like before, and I don't remember not being with them, as crazy as that sounds, because I think that that's the gift that they gave me. Does that make sense a little bit? Is that so it's about letting go of that past. I'm getting it. I'm really understanding, and I'm praising, I guess, myself that I'm learning to get to that place. So Terry, for you, in terms of how they've that significant part of yourself that you think that they've helped you to be able to, to move forward with, basically.
Wow. Well, a very short list of I know that the things that I'm going to name off here are things that everybody has experienced, at least one of these things. But after you experience homelessness, after you experience
Mm-hmm.
being in a car accident and not being able to recover quite the same way you were before it happened,
Mm-hmm.
my life switched around and changed around through an abusive relationship. So everything, family secret now that was life shattering for me. And so all of that happened right before the Billboard Awards in 2019. So when I met Lanny and Sherry, we were all three at a Grammy party where that was the first Grammy party that everybody got really upset with. So we bonded over that, right? Everybody bonded over the fact that the Grammys were anyway. So with watching them and feeling my physicality, I'm the same with Terry. I've been overweight all my life. Right now, because of my physical limitations and things, I'm and I only got the courage from Vegas last year because I didn't feel like I could physically do it. And because of this army family, they they supported me in every single way, emotionally, mentally, physically. When I was on a walker and canes and all kinds of things, using a wheelchair in Allegiant Stadium with Lanny, she was my little sister, and the experience I could not have had that experience without the love of this Armley family. So everything that we did, Angela talked about the Festa video that we did, that we bonded over. We kept asking them to do more and more, and they did. They kept doing more and more. And so for me at that place, I was not feeling worthy at all. I felt physically defeated, mentally and emotionally defeated. And to be able to come into this group of Army and all of us share the same experience in the love of BTS,
Mm-hmm.
has given me the foundation now to not be afraid to move forward with other things like this, right? Um, to put my voice out there, put my foot out there, one step at a time. And that has been life changing for me because now at 63 years old and a Nuna Army, I feel like I have a second chance. And I didn't feel like that before BTS. I did not. So my
Mm-hmm.
self worth has finally matched where it should be. And I feel good about that. So,
That's just incredible. Thank you so much. Ooh.
Love you,
mhm,
Terry.
I feel like our words have just, yeah. There's something about the last 3 years that the boys making this decision that if every single person here, I've been with them since 2014. Everyone on this who's watched me knows my journey has come in pieces. But it wasn't until that 3 to 4 years ago that I allowed myself to be kind to who I am as a human being. I live with chronic illness, so I do. I get you, girl. Every day of my life, it's a decision about living healthy versus it's just choices. I think. Do you think that they give us something that allows that let's go back to that
yes.
courage word, and then we're going to work on closing. Angela, you and I have a few things to get done because we're out of order because of Jungi, which is fine. I'm good with that. So um, let me just ask about the word courage then. For each of you, let's raise some hands about how many of us feel that they've given us courage to move forward when it's been painful. How many of us feel that they have given us the ability to look within more than we ever have? Yay. Here's a rough one. How many of us feel that they've helped us to redefine our own image?
Hmm.
Yes.
I would say even more, not even my image, but they gave me purpose. They gave me the tool,
Hmm.
the vision, the
Didn't even
energy, the love to be able to have a vision for
right.
myself, to have purpose.
So image includes all of those things. So you know that, and I love the support. And we're going to be talking about that with the vision board workshop. And you and I are going to talk about that, Lenny, when we do the Namjuning, because we're going to go way deep into Namjuning. Namjuning is not going to be what everyone thinks it is, right, Lenny? Go way deeper into it.
I have a question. How many of you had the boys have you by yourself sitting on your phone make you laugh out loud?
All the time.
And I mean fully laugh out loud. Yes, permission to laugh out loud. Yes, I love
Flower,
it.
flower.
Flower. Oh,
Hey, stop it.
hey, no, stop it. How do you spell it?
STIT.
No, it's IT. It's IT. Okay. When I need help, I told everyone, how do I say it? Help me.
Mhm.
Help me. I think people look at me like you're crazy. I'm like, no. That's how you ask for help. Help me. And then, when you want a moment of absolute release, that tension inside of you, you just imbibe Jimin and you go, poo. You just let all the
Mhm. Mhm.
oh my God, Pro. Okay, guys, you got this one? Okay, Pro, what's the answer? She's been my inside joke person the entire time. All last night we were doing inside jokes while we were show prepping. That's why Terry R is dying, because we were just dying last night. What's the capital of Scotland, people? Waffle.
Isn't it Belgium?
Oh my gosh.
It was Belgium. It says, what's the capital of Belgium? But I knew which one she was coming up with. That was so funny. I'm sorry. Now, you know what you did to me, Pro? Now you made me, my brain went straight over to Canada. I am now in a grocery store shopping lot in Canada when Tay and Jungkook are linked hand in hand and celebrating because they got the answer right. And you thought that they had won like $1 million, but really they just got the answer right because they studied, So, like, that's the thing. If I'm allowed to say that I learned the ability to laugh the way we're doing it now.
Yeah.
To be able to bring that into my relevance. And I say relevance because culturally, socially speaking, and traumatically from my life, laughter wasn't something I ever allowed myself. I'm a massive nerd, so it's not like I didn't laugh. It's something I didn't give myself permission to do. So we needed permission to dance. Well, permission to dance is about permission to do what else? What are some of the things that we're talking about? It's everything. It's everything. So when in those 3 years, when they weren't supposed to be here, something told them to stay. And Namjoon said it. They all actually said to us, something told us to stay. We realized that Army was going to need us. And they sacrificed, now I will cry, their own personal lives to stay here for us so that we can find strength and courage to keep going. So it's not a show if I don't cry once.
True.
It's written in the stars that I cry at least one time. Everyone can attest. Okay, so we are going to close out. Angela, since we're backwards, let's go ahead and tell people about Living Bangtan 7, the event, and we'll play our reels.
All right. So hold on, sorry. So we got all flipped. He flipped us upside down and backwards.
That's upside down.
So Living Bangtan 7 is a platform to create that Nisha, of course, created to bring you wellness discussions, content, and musings based on the healing positive messages of Bangtan Sonyeon. The name means bulletproof 24/7, and our purpose is to help us all learn how to live confidently with self-love throughout the day, protected by the support and love of our wonderful BTS and our wonderful Army.
Woohoo! And
I'm going to, yep.
and I got that one. And the Big Bangtan 7 is a reminder of the power that the bulletproof or Bangtan philosophy has as a source of healing, healthy coping, and support when we are struggling to believe in ourselves. And usually we start out by, Army, how are you doing today? Army, I love you. Oh, Army, you're so lovely. I am so lovely. We so lovely. So happy to bring you this Festa event, which is literally over 50 hours. And what we've done is we've actually arranged it in a way that allows Army from across the globe to be on. We are we are toggling in, and we have about almost 20 Army groups, if not maybe 25 represented. I don't even know the list. My Terry W and Terry R know the list. From what I can see, it's massive. Our outreach over the next 50 hours is going to be pretty big. We're going to be coming live to you with French Army later on in the day. We're going to be coming to you live with Uganda Army later on in the day. Pro is on with us now, representing and bringing in the Asian Army. She's in Bangladesh. Annie's over in Germany, and she's helping toggle in our 1 a.m. sessions, which is our European sessions, and also our Africa and Asian sessions. So we have purposely created this schedule to allow Army across the globe to tap in. Even this 11 a.m. is actually created so that it could go live in Korea, because it's actually a midnight session. It's kind of weird how we did it, but we do have people. Why, hi, little person. How are you?
That's my son.
Hi. Nice to see you.
He's also Army.
Are you Army?
Yeah.
I love it. Go ahead.
I have more like BTS merch than her.
Listen, Yoongi left, so now is that your son? So that's our 7th person.
Yes, yeah, that's perfect. Awesome.
That's awesome.
And don't forget, our Army audience are always our hearts, and they're always I always equate them out to being the other part of our conversation and our soul, because without our Army audience, we wouldn't be able to do what we'd be doing. We did a live this week that had 5,700 people toggling into it. I don't know how we're going to do it over the next 50 hours, especially if the boys keep dropping stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, but wouldn't it be incredibly funny? I do expect that we are going to have things like that happen, because it is Festa weekend.
Yeah.
And as we move closer to Tuesday, we will be ending by 2 p.m. We have 5 games that are coming to you, so please pay attention. Hello, 5 games that are coming to you, and those games actually have surprises at the end of it, so pay attention. It's across the anthology and discography of BTS. So I really am excited to bring these games to you, the quizzes, and it's go, guys. Army, go out there and study your anthology, because we are diving deep into that.
There you go.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go back and listen to Wildflower, Arson. Oh my God, because Arson was on our list for me to tell you, and we just got the new version today. I want you to go back and listen to Amygdala, D-Day, Alone by Jimin, and I want you to go back to Lie by Jimin, and I want you and Jin's Awake, and those songs. Thinking about our conversation today, go ahead and think and reflect a little bit about how those songs have extreme relevance in the messages that we brought you today. And I will post them all.
Do you want me to share the 10 years with Bangtan reel as we wind up?
And my lovely Army, could all of you go on stop cam, because we're going to play our 2 reels.
아무것도 생각하지 마. 넌 아무 말도 꺼내지도 마. 그냥 내게 웃어줘. Yeah.
It's so short. We need. And we are back and we are ready to close out our first session of our Still With You 10 Years of Wellness with Bangtan. We lost somebody in the middle of all of that. I'm not sure what happened. I think we lost Angela somehow. That was actually amazing timing because it was right at the end. We're going to go ahead and sign off, and we're going to be bringing you our next session. And that session is our, let me just grab it.
Lyrics game.
I know. Oh my God. Here it is, guys.
Yoongi Marry Me is here. Thank you, Drew.
Hey, our next session is our 10 years of microcosmic music. And what you want to know about 10 years of microcosmic music is we are actually going to be talking about the relevance of those songs and how music, the BTS anthology has had a huge, huge, huge relevant part in literally redefining our DNA and how so we're going to go deep dive into transition and music, guys. That's our next conversation. Good to be talking to you. And it's our first game. And that'll be coming to you with Angela. All right, everyone. Army Boy, hey, thank you so much to all of our guests who will be with us.
Happy Festa.
Happy Festa. Oh, now we're getting people on. Oh, no. Really, Pearl? You had to do it, huh? You had to. Okay, Army, stay with us. We'll be back with you in an hour and a half. Please be on with the show and make sure your computers are on, because to answer the questions, we are going to be dropping in Google Docs. On that Google Doc, you are going to be putting your answers, and you have a very defined amount of time to get those turned into us. We have a way to see when you turn them in and who turns them in the quickest. Yay!
Yay! Lyrics game.
Okay, like I told Angela, what are we doing at the end of the shows? We're singing Happy Birthday every time. Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Deishuka. Saranage Bhagavatam Deshuka. Bye, Army. Love you. I love you. Power.